All right, so last week we were looking at Daniel chapter 2, and we saw that Daniel laid out certain imperatives relating to the Antichrist at about 500 BC, and we see that 600 years later, we find that John is relating the same information that the Lord has provided to him. And so we talked about Daniel chapter 2, where Daniel saw this vision of these beasts. They talked about this 10-headed creature, and 10 horns, and 3 horns were broken off. And eventually, that individual was identified as the Antichrist. So now we're going to go into the New Testament. Steve, if you could, read for us Revelation chapter 13, and if you could run through the verses 2 through 8 for us.
Okay. Revelation chapter 13, verses 2 to 8. And the beast which I saw was likened to a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth is the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names were not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world.
All right, so what we just read was what John is perceiving from the Holy Spirit when God takes him up into heaven and reveals to him this one world empire headed by the Antichrist, which is very similar to what Daniel had seen 600 years earlier. The importance of that is that since John and Daniel couldn't possibly have known each other, then this means that this information had to be supernaturally superimposed upon John when he sees this, some 600 years later. And he specifically makes reference to verse 3. He says, I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and the whole world wondered after the beast. And that's clearly a reference to this individual, the Antichrist, who Daniel refers to as the little horn, who breaks off 3 of the 10 horns that opposed him to consolidate the world together. This Antichrist individual has to be assassinated and come back from the dead, and upon doing that, it's such a miraculous thing. John F. Kennedy had gotten out of the limousine after having his head blown off in front of the whole world. People would have said, oh my gosh, he's a Superman. How'd that happen? Apparently that's what the Antichrist is going to be able to do. And so that's one of the reasons why President Obama can't be the Antichrist, and we kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. One of my friends had said that, the YouTube videos prove that Obama's the Antichrist. And, if you're a biblical Christian, you shouldn't be getting your doctrine from YouTube, right?
Right.
You should be getting it from the Word of God, from the book of Daniel, from the book of Revelation, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. We find out Antichrist has to be assassinated, rise from the dead. What else does the Antichrist have to do?
Yes, go into the temple.
Right. Now, which temple would that be?
It's only the third temple.
The temple of God in Jerusalem. Yeah. Except there is no temple of God in Jerusalem, because it was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar first, and then the rebuilt temple was destroyed in 70 AD by Titus Vespasian, and there has not been a temple in Israel since that time. And so for President Obama to be the Antichrist, he would have to enter into the temple in the next 11 days. And unless they have like a really rapid force, construction team set up in Jerusalem, there's no way for that temple to be rebuilt in the next 11 days. And so that's yet another reason why Barack Obama couldn't be the Antichrist, because he can't go into the temple. And you laid out for us, Steve, that there's a specific time frame, and it says that after he rose from the dead, they worshiped the dragon, which gave the power to the beast. So we're finding out from We're not. Okay. We're not happy then. Okay.
And it's in Spanish for the first time. Can you see, does it say recording live? Normally those red buttons.
It says that it's pausing. Why is it pausing?